All right, thank you so much for staying with us on your Ultimate News and Current Affairs program on television. Well, we'll quickly go straight to the second talking point. And of course, we're going to be looking at what took place, events that happened last year, and how we are going to make amends in the new year as we begin to get straight into the elections next month. From my immediate left is Comrade Colin Samadi. He's a grassroots politician, and of course, he's live here with us in the studio. Good morning, Colin Samadi.
Good morning, DPO. Good morning, viewers out there. Happy New Year.
All right. And from my extreme left is Wisdom Elder. He has been with us in the studio, and he's still going to be with us as we look at 2022 in retrospect. Let's quickly come to Wisdom Elder. Last year, we went through a lot as a nation, even as an individual, talking about the hard economy, the Naira redesign, kidnapping, banditry, the unknown gunmen, and what have you. So many events actually took place last year. In your opinion, do you think the Nigerian army or the security forces, they are winning this war against insecurity?
Okay, sometimes the indices with which we do our analysis is actually what determines. So if we're analyzing based on 2022 and now, that means they are winning the war. But if we're analyzing based on what has happened before 2022 or before this administration and now, I think things have really gone so bad. That's the truth. Things have gone so bad because it was in 2022 that we had the Kaduna rail attack. It was in 2022 that we had the Kuje prison break.
The presidential
It was
guard.
in 2022 that we had so many terrorist attacks, even the ones that approached the Federal Capital Territory. It was then we had the convoy of Mr. President being attacked, and it was in 2022 we had a lot of security threats and challenges. You know, there was a time that most countries' embassies were closing down, and many of them were leaving because of the threats to security in this country. It was in 2022 that we had bandits. You know, I think we had a documentary by BBC where they gave the banditry activities in Zamfara State, and you could imagine how they had over 30,000 different camps of bandits in Zamfara State, and so many local governments were ransacked. We had so many mass burials. In fact, 2022 was one year that a lot of people wished never actually happened in Nigeria.
Still talking about security, Colin Samadi, the President and Commander-in-Chief of Armed Forces, President Muhammadu Buhari, has assured Nigerians that he's going to hand over a safe nation. But with the hike and continuous increase in insecurity, bandits are still having their way in some part of the country, and of course, we are not forgetting the Eastern Security Network that is still ravaging the eastern part of the country. Do you think that statement should be taken to the bank?
Yeah, you have to take him very serious on every word he says, especially when it comes to security. Because you agree with me, it's quite unfortunate that sometimes we forget so soon where we are coming from. And that is the only problem I have with Nigerians. We indeed have short memories for real. And it's quite unfortunate that we do all of that. Because you will agree with me that before now, the insecurity in Nigeria was alarming. Though we still have issues, agreeably, we have issues. But that's not to say that 2022 have become the worst time we have had when it comes to insecurity. We have had it worse, far worse than this. But God kept us all through. And we have survived as a nation, and we are still surviving. Owing to the foundation of insecurity that was built by his predecessors. You will agree it will take a man with guts to have been able to sustain Nigeria as one entity. Because also looking at political dynamics that took place, also look at law of lies and blackmail that took place, that even, you know, some of these leaders were trying to use as a way to incite Nigeria to to create more violence, to create more insecurity. We have had people who ought to have been elder statesmen, who have written a lot of open letters just to incite other regions or other group of persons to begin to hold hands by way of saying, defend yourself, they have surrounded you, they have done this, they have done this. Yes, all that was just to make sure they bring down the administration. But thank God for over the time, there have been this wisdom and understanding of how to manage the people. So and that Mr. President have done. And also to remind you,
it's self-defense out of place.
And also to
self-defense out of place.
When you say self-defense, who is to ask you to be self-defensing yourself? Is it not those people who led and gave us a foundation that is completely decayed? So how are they not telling us? Why did they not build institutions we can lie upon? Why did they not build a system that you and I can go to bed and sleep and say we have an institution running? Even when I become the president, I have little or not to do because there's already an institution working. How would you join people who destroy the foundation of the country, and you at the same time are coming to tell us that people have surrounded us? Now just to say that those were all political dynamics and tactics in order to bring down the system. But thank God the president and some of his team were upright in a way of wanting to give us a safe Nigeria. And now let me tell you, before now, we had a lot of local government, a lot of regions that were being captured by insurgents over the time. That was actually the basic reason that led to previous party being sent away by Nigerians. However, and let me tell you, it is not just a day that one can begin to build a system that is already rotten. So you need an overtime to build the system. And you know, Nigerians have not really had more of what the president, the foundation he has tried to lay, or he has laid. But I can assure you, in the next 5-6 years, Nigerians will begin to see the gain of all of these that have been put on ground. Either by way of security or by policies of economy that Nigerians feel pain today.
Now, these governments have spent close to 8 years in power. They'll be leaving by May 29th. They'll be leaving and handing over to the next government. Are you saying Nigerians should now wait before they will enjoy the benefit of this government? It has to take 6 years again?
Now, let me tell you, I have not said it's going to take 6 years. Sometimes it can even take 24, 30 years. It is not the day you begin to lay a foundation. When we talk about foundation, we're talking about a sustainable one. We are not talking about the one done or being done to camouflage the people or to cajole the people. If it is that one, trust me, we have had those kind of leaders over the time who will just come and pour quota on a road and say, I have tied your road before you wake up. And the next 3 days is finished. Because why? There is no solid job that is being done. Okay. So what I'm trying to say in all share is that now, Osayomore, my lady hero, once said, somebody will come where go make us feel pain and later we will see the gain. Okay. Now when it comes to administration, especially in a Nigerian system where we had a zero system being built, it is going to certainly take time. And let me tell you, the next government that will also come will also join in building more of the system.
I'll come back to you.
Before we begin to see more of the gain we are envisaging.
Let's come to Wisdom Elder. One of the promises we had from President Muhammadu Buhari before he came into power in 2014, he assured Nigerians that insurgency will be a thing of the past. And of course, he also promised Nigerians that he's going to fight corruption. And in 2022, we saw how corruption, to an extent, was becoming something that should give people concern. Wisdom Elder, what's your take?
Okay, first of all, I want to say that I think every well-meaning Nigerian today can understand what has actually changed. A lot have changed in this country. We no more have the cost of food the way we're having it now. It has skyrocketed. You bought fuel today over 280. It has changed. Diesel today is close to 900. It has changed. Our currency, is crashing against the dollar. Things have changed. And a lot of companies and all, they are migrating. A lot of businesses are crippling. Every Nigerian understands. We know what actually is paining us today. When you come to insecurity, it is so overwhelming in Nigeria that even a presidential convoy is attacked. Who is safe again? There was a time in Abuja, the scare was so heavy that even the terrorists were even approaching FCT, you know. So things, I mean, the prison that was how many minutes? Kuje is just how many minutes? Not up to 40 minutes to the seat of power in Abuja. Everything inside Federal Capital
Territory.
Territory.
The pain. What is the pain of Nigerians?
The pains of Nigeria, Nigerians are suffering. Nigerians have seen the worst of everything that they thought were bad before. Before this administration, Nigerians felt maybe they are going to get, like you said, President Buhari promised us security. He promised us that things would be stable and all. That was what Nigerians expected. They felt it was a civilian that was running the affairs of the country. That was why he was not handling security correctly. But when this man came in, we saw banditry. Banditry improved, increased, escalated. Not only in Borno or far northeast, but the thing entered into virtually different parts of the country.
You know, including the eastern part of the country.
Today, in the election that is coming up, a lot of local governments in the north will not vote. I did a kind of reassessment and trying to help those displaced
I want to
persons.
force you. Where did you get that statistics from? How are you sure they are not going to vote?
Yes, a lot of local governments, INEC has already confirmed that a lot of local governments have not actually regained their stand. And let me tell you, what has happened in Northeast will take more than 20 years to recover from. Nigeria, I'm telling you. Because so many people whom you see in the South, some of them who are sleeping on the road, some of them who are on the street today in the South, are people who have escaped, who flee from terrorists from far north. And these are the people whom we are seeing walking around.
We saw that played out during Goodluck Jonathan's administration.
No, what you saw in Goodluck Jonathan's administration was the beginning of what has escalated. I'm not here to justify whatever happened in Jonathan's administration. I've said it that the yardsticks of measuring success is what will determine what we are discussing today. I cannot be measuring success of this administration based on the failure of the previous administration. We are in this world, for crying out loud. We're in a dynamic environment where we have other economies thriving at the same time, and we are not thriving. Today, Cotonou at the CFA is almost more than the Naira. People who used to come to Nigeria to buy things are now coming, we are the ones going to them. We have railway plans that were made for other countries. In this country, we have so many things that were done contrary to the pattern and principle that even the leaders have signed, have agreed that this is how things are going to be as far as Nigeria is concerned. We are not protected, we are not secured, we don't have good governance, we don't have protection of life and property, we are not even getting the better things of life. How can you get food in the south when the north is ravaged by terrorists? There were times that farmers were paying money to terrorists in order for them to go to their farms to even cultivate. And we are in this country, in a country where you are paying levies to, you've heard, you are in the media, you are a journalist, you have heard there were even places that they had parallel governments in this country. So we have had it all. Nigerians have seen the worst. We have never expected that a government like this today will be even campaigning for another 4 years. We never expected. Okay. The first thing the APC government should have done is to apologize to Nigerians for what they have done. You can't come into a system and you understand what is going on in that system, and you are saying that the system was ruined, the system was destroyed. Before you came in, did you not know that Nigeria was how PDP left it? Okay. Even though you wanted to at least bring us better, why not bring us better than the way PDP left it? Why bring us back?
Wisdom Elder, we'll come back to you. Collins Amadi, the APC government, 7 years down the line, over 7 years, by May 29, like I said, they'll be leaving office. Do you think they deserve the right to come back again?
Because
should Nigerians trust them to return back to power?
Because the administration have done quite well by way of building a sustainable foundation that indeed can be consolidated as every government come on board. Because what they meant was zero. You know, sometimes when we talk on emotions, we look for very little thing to blackmail even a system sometimes we need to encourage.
So there was no consolidation from the PDP government?
Now let me tell you.
No consolidation from the PDP government?
Now let me tell you. PDP government did the little they can. Okay. Unfortunately, within 1999 till when they left office, they were struggling maybe to help entrench democratic system. And by way of that, a lot of them were siphoning the country's funds with both hands, because Nigerians were looking at one hand, okay, how can we sustain the governance, democracy? Those who were asked to lead us took advantage of it. They were packing Nigerian money, building personal farm with Nigerian money, building personal library with Nigerian money, and so many others. Senate president were fighting and saying the money you used to furnish your own kitchen, the president used, me as Senate president will use it. They were impeaching themselves every day. But Nigerians were just like, how are we going to go through all of this and still remain a democratic system? And they took advantage of all of that. Then after which, we have another successive government, in which we didn't see that PDP government, that we're now trying to see how they can reawaken the economic system of the country that have also been caused by them. And before you know what was happening, the infights that came in within them brought about the insecurity. While they were trying to see how they can go to economy, the insecurity took its way. And many local governments, just as you have said, people started paying levy just to go to farm, to individual. And that was why you saw that when the administration of the president came, they started holistically putting on here. IPOP did not just start today. The killing in the East did not start today. The fighting of fellow brothers by the Easterners did not start today. In the Northeast you are talking about, the crisis in the Northeast did not start today. That was why they started blackmailing President Jonathan at the time. Even when all hands were supposed to be on deck to solving it, that he was just keeping quiet, and he apparently was even the one sponsoring it to demystify the northern part of this country. And not knowing that among his friends and colleagues who were not very comfortable with the gain that were coming out were the ones sponsoring it before they knew. Okay. It was late. Now they brought in about the economic situation. Okay. Now the people who run the economy of many of his countries are the economists. Right. And that is why we have different sessions in government. Now the central bank governor we have today, apparently you people have been crying and crying. Because when Jonathan decided to employ or bring in Emefiele as the central bank of Nigeria, which ordinarily is supposed to be the chairman of the economic arrangement, outside the vice president constitutionally as it were. But for those who said this is their main call to balance and rework the economy, was employed by PDP government. Emefiele was brought in by them, and he comes from another region. That even if you try to relieve him, they will begin to give you analysis that Northerner is number one, Northerner is the High Commissioner, Northerner is this one, Northerner is this one. Based on this sentiment, I'm coming, I'm almost landing. Based on all of this sentiment and this emotion, now Emefiele have remained there. Emefiele was not employed by President Buhari, but was employed by the PDP administration.
But he's a CBN governor.
That's what I'm telling you.
So we'll get back to you.
That's what I'm telling you. So if we have an economic system that had failed, yes, to an extent it has failed because they brought the mother is there. And now I'm coming, sir.
You have to wrap up.
I know. I'm almost up. Now let me also tell you, when we say economy downfall, it is not just Nigeria. Go everywhere in Europe and across the world.
And Wisdom Elder,
we have economic issues.
You want to react to that, Wisdom Elder, quickly?
Definitely. He said the APC met zero, whatever they met. I think maybe one challenge we have with the APC administration is that rather than addressing issues, they will just start giving us false statistics. APC currently is working with all the establishments of PDP. Everything that PDP established, whether EFCC, whether this and that and all, these are the things they are still working with. They came in, they privatized. We saw an economy that's changed, that had a double digits in 2022 during Obasanjo administration, 15%. Today we are seeing 0 minus 1%, minus 2%. We have seen 2 inflations in this administration. We used to have different CBN governors. We had Sanusi, he was relieved, and Emefiele came in. If Emefiele is not doing a good job, why is he not relieved? A government that does not even have capacity to source for the right people to deliver the country has failed. What we are seeing is abysmal failure of leadership. Leadership in this context. When you talk of corruption, I don't understand when he said corruption, people are buying. No. We are seeing corruption at its climax in this administration. We are seeing oil theft at its climax in this administration. What will make diesel to be hitting up to 800 or 900? Okay, we had the oil price, you know, so that when Russia had problem, other countries that were oil producing countries, they had the advantage of not even having access to Russia. But Nigeria has remained at that state, and we have even reduced all the excess. We talked about local government and all. Do you know, during Obasanjo administration, we had local government presence. We had local government election. We had allocation going to different local governments of this country directly. I could access some support because I was appealing to my local government. Okay. And there were allocations that were coming directly to. Today, local government system is there, and the central government or the federal government is doing nothing. Okay. We have not seen any National Assembly that impeached anybody for any reason. Okay. We see people who are corrupt, and the government, the party, is condoning them. The party is covering them, is shielding them, which has never happened in the history of politics in this country.
Okay. Wisdom Elder, I would like us to override emotions so that we can clearly send our point to Nigerians who are interested in this discussion, to Nigerians who are affected by the hardship and all that. I'm with you now, Colin Samadi. We were told this morning, Zainab Ahmed said that we've been borrowing to fund petrol subsidy.
Of course.
That we've been borrowing to fund petrol subsidy, and they have been increasing queue. Fuel has increased in price, and despite being a major oil producing nation, we are still where we are.
It's quite unfortunate that we find ourselves in that situation.
Who should be held responsible?
Now let me tell you.
Who should be held responsible?
I am commissar. That was why I said it's quite unfortunate that we are finding ourselves in that state. And let me also tell you, the refineries we had in this country, the Port Harcourt refinery, the Lagos one, the Waterview, the Kaduna refinery, that over the time, 1999 today, we have had that emphasis of wanting to consolidate our economy through this basic infrastructure.
What infrastructure?
But now, the infrastructure of making sure the refineries are working and access to distributions, even when these refineries are working. Because at the time, you know, even when Nigeria led refinery was working, with the Warrior, to distribute even to Benin, through the tunnel in which they pass it through, at the time it got blocked, they have to go and start using the tanker to bring before it finally collapsed, the one in Benin, for example. Now let me tell you, President Muhammadu Buhari have invested serious capital in rebuilding and revitalizing the Nigerian refinery. Okay. By way of this, that was why you saw that even a private refinery led by Dangote was encouraged, was given the needed environment to also kick off, even as a private refinery. Today, they have just begun, but you know, when you begin, you cannot, also being a private too, you cannot get the very needed result that you want. Are you sure? But to tell you that that already is a plus at that area of wanting to fight the situation. Now, in opening the economy as it were, that was why you saw that from 1999 to today, the second Niger bridge, which is the eastern part of this country where our brother and our sister is, have been so locked in one quarter. And the president said, this cannot just be a mere say. Let us open the economy from the east to the west and to the other part of the country. That was why you saw that.
Was it this administration that built the second Niger bridge?
Of course, let me tell you, every successive government have played politics with second Niger bridge by way of fiat. We win. They have gone to that place. Obasanjo, when he was there, when Jonathan was there, they try to use it to campaign.
Do you have facts?
Of course I have facts, and you know all this.
Right.
They try to, I'm promising I have the floor, because I will also interrupt. They try to make politics with all of this, but this man came and started. Now the Ogoni and the polluted environment in the Niger Delta. Cleaning has started from the very first month Mr. President came on board. Until tomorrow is ongoing. And if you talk about employment and helping the agriculture sector and the small-scale business, now let me tell you, through the World Bank intervention and the Presidential Task Force on Agriculture, do you know how much the President have invested in agriculture across board? Now let me also tell you, in helping the small-scale and medium-scale business, do you know how much the central bank, through the policies of this government, have invested? Also through some governors have given to governors and also directly supported small-scale business in billions and in dollars. This is just a way to building the economy. Fantastic. That is what this APC government have been doing. And I can assure you, in the next dispensation, God helping and consolidating through the APC government, you will begin to see more policies, you will begin to see more action, and indeed you will be proud of the yesterday of the APC you have seen.
Absolutely. Every Nigerian wants to be proud to be a member of the country. Let's come to Wisdom Elder. Wisdom Elder, last year we saw how, well, it was alleged that Niger Republic were giving some kind of relief materials from this country in the form of cars. And it was also alleged that railway lines were built from Nigeria to Niger.
Okay. When you say alleged, are you saying that the information was not coming from a reliable source?
Wisdom Elder.
Yes, I don't know why you are using the word
as a nation, is that what we really need? Because to an extent, we were graced with so many industrial industrial action that seems not to end.
See, one thing I want to say to listeners, I don't encourage mediocrity. I don't encourage mediocrity, and I know Nigerians are very, 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 very good at what they do. Nigerians know a lot about so many things. We have smart people in this country that can run this country far much, 100 million times better than what is happening in this country today. We have them, so many of them. Let me give you why I don't do assessments based on the previous, because I'm not even supporting the kind of failure of the past. Neither am I encouraging the failure of the present. Now look at this. Now let's take, for example, this is Addis Ababa light rail project. Let's see, the span of that light rail project is 34 kilometers. The cost is $475 million. The number of stations is 39. The project tenure was 2011 to 2015. The company that did it is China Railway Group Limited. Now look at Lagos light rail project. The span is 27 kilometers, lower than Addis Ababa. The cost is $1.5 billion. The number of stations is 13. Far much lower, less than, it's just like times 3 of what the other one is.
How does it correlate with what
now, what I'm saying is that I don't do assessment of the success of this country based on whatever PDP started. No. When someone has failed, the person has failed. When we are talking of failure, you're talking of refineries that were not working during PDP, that the president, how did the president build refinery in this administration? The same turnaround maintenance and budget for turnaround maintenance they have been given in PDP is the same budget they are still giving currently. The same corruption happening with the oil sector in the previous administration is the same corruption that's still happening. Even in this administration, we had to see NNPC being they had to privatize it. According to them, NNPC is now NNPC Limited, and it's no longer. So there are so many shady things that are covering that level of privatization that Nigerians are yet to uncover when the time comes. So what I'm saying is that I am not here to start telling you that PDP did it well or APC is doing it better. I'm telling you where these people have failed. You talk about local government administration is dead in this country, yet funds are being allotted to local government. What is happening in our local government? Now, what is happening with the oil sector? How come we cannot even boast of a single working refinery in the past 7 years? What did they promise us for power? What did they promise us for food and for other resources that we are missing in this country? Right, these are the challenges we have, and these are the yeses. So when you look at Nigeria today, look at what we have, compare it to another country who has less than what we have, and how they are thriving. That is when you can begin to accept that we have really failed in leadership the past 7 years or the past 23 years.
Thank you so much, Mr. Melda. Now, we saw how INEC offices were being burnt down, sensitive materials scattered away. Now, the election is just a month away from now. Colin Sabadi, what's your take? Do you think if we keep having attack on our INEC offices, won't that hamper the electoral process?
Of course. When things like this begin to happen, for those who believe they want to movementize Nigeria into chaos, over the time we have made them to understand that in my adage in Benin, now what
does that mean?
When the heavens want to fall and it's coming down to the earth, and it's not coming for one person, it's coming for all of us. So if you think destroying the facilities that we have to have a refined system is the best thing to do, congratulations. But quite unfortunate that it's not supposed to be. How can INEC facilities that would ordinarily help us to choose the kind of leader we want if truly we are passionate and we're driven by that which we voyage? Many just talk, what they have in mind is different. People just talk and they blow emotions and they will never see anything good in what people have done. And it's not supposed to be. Now, if we say all the time we have cried that, okay, even in transportation, let's have an alternative to this Okada and let's have a modern system of transportation. And somebody had come up with not just a normal electrified train system. First of its kind in the Republic. That everyone should encourage their governors. This is not a presidential job. It was a state government job. To begin to ask governors questions to modernize their constituents. But instead, we are jumping from the real issue. We are jumping into another one. We are talking about price. Has somebody delivered? Let me tell you, Nigerians, they are so wonderful. Nigerians don't care even if you are stealing all the money. But that basic which they want, just offer them.
You are in Nigeria.
Now let me tell you now. Yes, let me tell you.
Are you feeling the hardship?
I care.
Of course, that is why
the economy affecting you.
Oga, now let me tell you. We have had people who have stolen.
If you say Nigerians
I care.
They are not bothered about the money that have been stolen.
Yes, that is where I was coming from.
Okay, please quickly.
Ordinarily, if while I was driving through Ugbawa Road, I drew straight, no potholes, everywhere is clean, and everywhere is fine. Even if you put a toll and I need to pay something to pass, I will be pleased. So long I know that what is coming out, something is also following. Nigerians are not really concerned. What Nigerians are concerned, you can see Nigerians sometimes cry today, wanting to say, but we are anymore. How come nothing incommensurate over the time? 1999 today, Nigerians will tell you, we have made so much. How come? The country has borrowed so much. How come? Nothing really commensurate. Just because they are not seeing the basic things as they wish to have gotten. That is why. So if a government is doing, we are talking about local government election. Like my brother have been emphasizing, how can you be pushing everything to the center? Now the center cannot continue to poke nose.
So are you saying the center doesn't have the capacity to control?
The constitutions are there. And the best you can do is through the constitution. And do you know the funny thing? When Nigerians want to make mockery, or when some of our constituent leaders want to make mockery of Nigerians, they will send somebody to go to court. You will go to court and they will use the court to KIV issues. Today, we have House of Assembly members that were elected. Almost 4 years. They have not been sworn in. But a court who ought to adjudicate on an issue as especially as it is. They kept mute and nobody is talking. The court is not talking.
Right,
tomorrow you will go and blame the president.
Thank you.
Now a local government, every state have their own local government system. I'm almost running. I just want to. Every state had their local government system. And they have their state SCX.
But you've articulated your point. You've articulated your point.
That organizes their election. Now you're not saying the federal government should go and constitute a state SIEC to conduct elections for them, for their local government, when the constitutions are clear.
All right, I'll come back to you. Now, let's quickly look at the Naira redesign. One of the climax of 2022 was the introduction of the new Naira notes. And of course, well, 31st January is the deadline for the old one to get out of circulation. But we are yet to see the new Naira notes find its way to the hands of Nigerians. Wisdom Elder, what's your thought on that?
All right, for a point of that order, I have started seeing the new Naira note. Maybe we've not seen the replacement.
It's taking time.
Yeah, we've not seen the drastic replacement. Let me start by saying that there are so many policies that the current CBN governor has promulgated that have really affected the economy, which experts are going to look into, not now.
So if you have seen it, is it in circulation?
No, this is the only country that stopped the trade of cryptocurrency. They stopped the forex trading. They wanted to affect a given number of people who were mobilizing funds during a protest. Because of that, they stopped it. This is the country that banned Twitter, banned free speech. The same people that came to power through free speech, through protests, through campaigns, through protests, and they banned Twitter for a given period of time. And every day they were spending money to make sure they retain that ban. This is the country that, you know, they have reduced the withdrawal limit. And so many, look, if you do a transfer, for instance, you are paying a certain percentage amount of money, and the person who is receiving is paying certain. We are going to look into all that. This is not time to start vapoozing or telling people about what the administration has done. There are statistics of absolute failure. We are borrowing. How can you be borrowing to survive? And you are still borrowing again. And we say we are producing, we have a lot in this country. And we have people who can transform this country to what it's supposed to be. But those people are not allowed because probably either they come from a section of the country or they identify with a given way of life and ideology which cannot be accepted by those who feel they will outsmart them. So that is not leadership. We have failed in this country in terms of leadership. That is the problem.
CBN says that the new Naira note is not targeted at anyone. Now, some politicians actually cried foul because they felt the elections is just around the corner. Redesigning the Naira notes and placing restriction on a certain amount to have in your custody is out of place. But the CBN governor is saying, no, this is not targeted at individuals. Do you agree with that?
The CBN governor from inception, to me, does not have direction. And that is why...
He doesn't have direction?
No, that is why today we are crying.
But he takes instruction from the presidency.
No, the president that you and I know is not the one that interferes in affairs of institutions, as it were, because he believes that for you to be there, you should be able to do things. He can only make an advisory. You see, Oga, even the police, as it were, how many can you continue to sack? Do you know at the time where there was some mania insecurity, once you change leadership, Nigerians say, this one is not good again, oh, let us change him, let us change him. They will change, they will change. And at the end, I'm sure most of those things still remain. So it's not about changing and changing. Now, that was what I told you. regional sentiments. There are a lot of indices when it comes to this country. That is why today you see religious leaders doing religious presidency, not religious presidency, because they don't believe in capacity. Now, my brother also said there are people who can do better. You cannot tell me you can do better by saying. You will tell me what have you done before, because even at our different level, even if you are a choir, you are a Sunday school teacher, at your own level, you should be able to prove something that you have done that can make us trust that you can do better. So the CBN governor, Ebiefele, was just a disaster as a CPA governor, but unfortunately, because of the emotions we play in this country, that is why people like that can still be there. Otherwise, for 3 years, I have even been crying that he can't be there. How can you even be a CBN governor? Your posters will be everywhere, and vehicles will be videoed everywhere under your name that you want to contest for presidency. And a case will be in court that you must remain. That is a complete politician.
The support of the president when he actually came with the...
Of course, that's the administration.
When he came with the suggestion of redesigning the note, the president said he's giving his back.
I don't have problem. See, let me tell you. I don't have direct problem with the redesigning.
You have indirect problem.
Now, my issue with him is that most of his policies have been so awkward. Now, let me come by way of this. The money that the central bank gave to different governors to help build the small-scale business and revitalize the agriculture of all this, of all of us as it were, in different states. How come these things were done in secrecy and they were not well monitored? If a CBN through his interventional program wants to indeed really help this country to move forward, you must set up an independent task force or a committee to follow up those governors you are giving a relief.
Okay.
By way of this, Nigerians would have been happier today. Okay. Otherwise, most of these governors have stolen this money, they have pocketed them, and they have done this with impunity.
Amadi, I'll come back to you now.
They have done it with impunity.
Talking about moving forward, Wisdom Elder, what kind of president should Nigerians expect come next month?
We want to start all over. I think they say when you lost your way, go back to the beginning. I see Nigerians now understanding, because I always say Nigerians in the streets, they know who is a criminal. You can't paint it. You can't polish it. You can't brainwash anybody again in this country. Because if this current administration brainwashed us into accepting what we are seeing today, I believe the next dispensation, we cannot be brainwashed. So we know who is a criminal. We know who is coming to loot. We know who is coming to work. But all I know is that Nigerians should look out for a selfless leader. A leader that has passion and is ready to lead from the front row. Someone whose antecedents actually speaks of lack of corruption, whose antecedents speaks of control of resources, and then
you need to wrap up now with the fund
into private property and all the rest of it.
Thank you. Colonel Samadi, you have 40 seconds.
Nigerians, 40 seconds. We're almost there. The kind of president we want today, a president that can identify a team, a refined team, that can help take Nigeria to where it is, because governance is not a one-man show, it's a teamwork. So we need somebody who can identify from the north, from the south, from the west, from the east, and pull them together and give us a refined system. Not somebody who will pack Nigerian money and put it to a family business. We need somebody that is coherent.
Thank you so much. Well, that's the much we can take on the show this morning. Get your PVC, ensure you exercise your franchise as a Nigerian. Ijeno Kumel Sedebama is my name. Do have yourself a fantastic day ahead. Bye for now.